Lastly, we are going to talk about Teddy Bridgewater. So Teddy Bridgewater recently made some interesting comments where basically he was, kind of saying, he basically put out a message where he wanted to let NFL players know that they need to do better in terms of the image that they portray because there's kids watching them. Basically, what Teddy Bridgewater was getting at was, NFL players need to do a better job of, stop trying to live up to this, fake gangster persona because it's not real. 98% of the players in the NFL aren't actually gangsters. It's okay to be a cool guy. It's okay to be a nice guy. And we need to do a better job of painting that picture because we don't want to, and I'm paraphrasing here, I don't think it's necessarily a good thing that younger people and kids who look up to pro athletes and NFL players in particular see the way that we act in terms of embracing a gangster facade or a tough guy persona and have them emulate, what these players, basically kids would emulate that. And Teddy Bridgewater doesn't think that's necessarily the best thing in the world. So Teddy Bridgewater, he took to his Instagram to make a post, and see if I could put this up here real quick. So that everybody can see, what Teddy Bridgewater said. So this is Teddy Bridgewater's Instagram post right here. He said, "Tired of seeing football players portray this tough guy image or pretend he's a gangster. You went to school, attended those classes, and some even got their college degree. Now you might have 1.5% of professional football players that's on that, but the remaining 98.5% are only football tough, quote unquote. So don't wait till you inherit this legal money from the league to decide you want to be tough or portray a street image because it's kids that's looking up to everything we do. Plus it's someone sitting in a cell or posted in the hood who might have been just as hood as you that would advise you otherwise. Kids, don't be fooled. You can play ball, do the right thing, and they still going to accept you. Look at me. I'm far from perfect, but I chose the ball route, but I can still go to the hood and post up, and it's all love. I still keep the same 3 dudes around me. My people accept me for making all the right decisions and not falling victim or being tricked by the false image you see on IG from a lot of ball players. Choose your path. Can't do both, though." So that was what Teddy Bridgewater had to say. What were your thoughts on Teddy Bridgewater's comments? Obviously, there's a lot of levels that we can go, but just on the surface, his comments about that.
I think that he's spot on. I love everything that he said because it's absolutely 100% true. And this is a problem that is not just in the NFL, but we'll stick with the NFL. And this is a phenomenon that that honestly I'm over it. For a guy who was raised in a 2-parent household, taught to respect elders, taught to follow the rules, got good grades in school, graduated from college myself, and I was still trying to be around the wrong people. I was still trying to be in the wrong places. And it was due to my consumption of what people call entertainment. I don't call it entertainment anymore. I call it mind control.
Yeah.
And so I was, after having some life experiences that I don't wish on anybody, it comes to a point where you go, what the hell am I doing? And who the hell am I? And why the hell am I engaging in these? I'm still me. I'm still a cool dude. But at the same time, there's this weird chip on my shoulder that I have to be this character or this tough guy. Even though I'm not running around bullying people, nothing weird. It was still a thing of, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's like, nah, I don't know what you're saying. You didn't say a word. You're just, yeah. And it's just like, you're doing stuff like that. And so for Teddy, I had to look it up. I don't know if it was Central or Northwestern. He went to Northwestern.
Yeah.
So he's from the city. He's from the area where he sees this. I'm pretty sure he known people when he was younger that passed away for street stuff, guys that passed away while he was in the league off street stuff, and they just doing street stuff, or guys that's locked up doing street stuff, guys that he knew from school. And so seeing those things and being around those things and knowing that there's much more to life than portraying an image. I don't know what he saw. I don't know what he encountered, but I greatly appreciate the message. We don't need to do this as a people. It's so often in the NFL, and in the summertime, dudes be getting arrested, gun charge, reckless driving, weed in the car, domestic violence,
sexual assault. Yeah.
The summertime for NFL players, it is just, I mean, and it's mainly brothers.
Yes.
And so we get ourselves in these scenarios, and it's honestly it is off-putting for me as well. So I'm glad somebody that has a voice, I'm glad that somebody that people look up to actually, had the testicular fortitude to say such a thing, and call out his peers. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm reminded of a conversation that we have had many times where we talk about how, at least for me, I often sit down and I question what Black culture what really is Black culture. What does that mean? I don't know what that, to this day, I'm not quite sure I know what that means. And the reason why I don't know what it means is because we have made our culture synonymous with music and athletics. So, and the reason why I bring that up is because I think that the root of this is in that. Like, I spent at least 15 years of my life in a constant state of cognitive dissonance. Like there was a chunk of my life, at least 15 years, where I was walking in a state of cognitive dissonance at all times. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for about 15 years, I experienced cognitive dissonance constantly because there was the core of me, which said, be a principled person who is considerate of others and cares about doing the right thing and thinks that it is a good thing to be successful in terms of education and doesn't think it's lame to speak properly and thinks that it's okay to be into things like, say, I don't know, video games and art, is at war. That individual is in a state of war with the other part of me who says I need to be doing what I see in music videos and hearing my music. And so that tumultuous war created this cognitive dissonance that I only was able to overcome after about 15 years of struggling with how do I reconcile this. I dealt with that for a long time. And it looks like, thankfully, Teddy Bridgewater is an individual who is able to also overcome said cognitive dissonance, because I'm pretty sure at various points throughout his youth, he was someone who probably thought the opposite of what he said in that statement, who probably felt like what I should be doing is what I see older guys who came before me, who may have come from my neighborhood or my environment, or the way that I see my peers in the league behaving, or the way that I see my favorite hip hop stars, the way that I see them behaving, or the things that I hear in my favorite songs. I should be doing that because that is what is my culture. It's a nonverbal acceptance of a form of behavior that I do think mostly affects, Black people and the Black population. And so I do agree. I am over it. I do think it's madness. Unfortunately, too many of us are susceptible to the mind control. And I do think that the more that people like Teddy Bridgewater speak out against it, the better we will be in terms of getting others to understand that there is a better way to go about doing things. A few videos ago, we talked about Russell Wilson. and how he oftentimes receives disrespect within the black population because he's perceived as something other than authentically black. Because we just believe that in order to be black, characteristically, you must act, dress, and talk a certain kind of way. When really we should just be people and just be human beings. And I would imagine that a person like Teddy Bridgewater probably now more than ever respects the perspective of an individual like Russell Wilson. And it's not to say that everybody should act like Russell Wilson, but we do need to get to a point where we are just respecting one another for being our own individual selves. And it's important that these pro athletes, because for better or for worse, unfortunately, it's either athletes or entertainers. That's where we take our cues from in terms of how the black culture is supposed to move. I wish it wasn't that way, but in 2022, it is still that way. So while it remains that way, it is helpful that we have enough people like Russell Wilson and Teddy Bridgewater talking like this to at least offset the notion that in order to be authentically black, you should be acting like somebody else. You know, I don't know who you want to throw in there. You know, people like Antonio Brown, for example, that's probably somebody who we shouldn't be emulating as people. But you probably have a fair amount of us who probably say free AB or free Deshaun Watson or whatever the case may be. And it's just like, you know, there's two sides to the same coin here. It's damaging to think that there's only one side of it. And so I'm happy, you know, appreciative that, you know, Teddy Bridgewater has reached a point in his life where he feels comfortable enough in his own skin to put that on his own Instagram for mass consumption.
Totally agree. And I'll speak on the the mind control aspect of this whole gangster stuff because I don't know what that is either. And but that's all that's portrayed right now, and it's not even just in music videos; it's the TV shows too.
Yeah.
When you watch any other group of people, they have TV shows and stuff like that. They got, I mean, there's witches, there's aliens, orcs. They're traveling out of space. They're traveling in the past. They're traveling in the future. Ours are, I've mentioned this before, it's cookouts. It's eating at Big Mama's house. It's selling drugs. Did I mention selling drugs? And so people, that's the only thing that is available for Black people to watch a show where there's, you know, they're people and they want to be engaged. And yeah, there's other TV shows where there's Black people and stuff like that, but those shows are family shows. They're this, they're that, but there's nothing that takes the brain or the mind into an area of like Inception or The Matrix or something that actually gets the people's wheels turning about reality and their reality and how they can have impact on the world versus all of these videos or these movies that just portray, hey, y'all, let's hang out. Let's have a good time. All right. Oh, yeah. Black people on a plane, but it's turned up. You know, it's got rims and all this other stuff. It's like, yo, who wrote these things? Yo, who's doing this?
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, it's a thing where now, so when entertainment actually became a thing and the ball was actually getting rolling and, you know, it's becoming popular. There's more TV shows, more channels and, you know, all this other stuff. The people who had control over what came on the air or I'll stick with TV that came on the air. You know, they didn't look like us and they told us what our people wanted.
Right.
And then they said, y'all don't want to watch that. Y'all want to watch this stuff. And so then and then what would end up happening is, you know, new people are born. They don't know anything else from the past. And then they're watching the mind control and now they're being told how to behave. And so these young kids that are just listening to, you know, I don't like the term mumble rap, but we'll go with mumble rap because that's what everybody knows it as. And so when these young kids that didn't grow up listening to articulation, who didn't grow up listening to, you know, complex concepts. They're just hearing about the next jug, the next finesse, the next murder, you know what I'm saying? The next baby mama, the next whore. And that's where their mindset is. So when they're growing up, they think that this is all there is. And so they're, oh, well, what do you mean? This is just entertainment. Y'all used to listen to this. I'm listening to it. And now there's this space. I was so disappointed when I was seeing the young kids grow up still making rap music like us, like our generation did. But our generation had not product placement. It was a product placement artist, laboratory artists, people that had writers that portrayed an image that they slang cocaine, that they're the biggest boss in town, and that they do all of this crazy stuff. And so I really thought that the next generation wouldn't buy into that because they could see the older people and go, you really don't do that. But the younger kids are actually doing it. They're actually selling the drugs. They're actually doing the drugs. They're actually murdering the people and then rapping to tell about it and then get arrested. And then all their homeboys. It's a mess. And so all of this stuff comes from what people call entertainment. And so, yeah. So as soon as football practice over and you go watch Power, that's your problem right there.
Yeah.
Soon as your game's over or you're in practice, you're listening to NBA YoungBoy because he gets you riled up. That's your problem right there. And then so, of course, now these guys have this chip on their shoulder where, well, I ain't really hood enough. And just like how he said, well, now that you have the money to prove that you're this gangster guy, you know, acting like Steven Jackson, showing up in some hood or whatever. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I'm checking in. Checking in? Bro, you're 40 plus.
Yeah.
Who are you checking in with? And what gang are you talking about? Like, what are you doing? And so when there's that type of stuff going on, it's a little too prevalent. And I really think it is a form of MK Ultra. It's a form of mind control. And that statements like Bridgewater's is actually like a splash of cold water, where if there was anybody on the fringe that needed a little confidence boost to not live that life anymore, I really feel like his statement actually would help them overcome that. So.
Yeah, I agree. I think that Black people are just uniquely affected by this because of the lack of a juxtaposition to something that's opposite that. It's weird, like, and you brought up the entertainment factor, and I think that it boils down to obviously a shaky foundational upbringing obviously makes you susceptible to images, and it makes you susceptible to messaging. So when you're already that susceptible to the messaging, when you don't have enough of a balance of the type of messages that you're exposed to, it kind of opens you up to a world of potential problems. Like I remember, and I've talked about this before, where I feel like in the entertainment space, sometimes, and to be honest, I don't watch a ton of TV. So, maybe my knowledge isn't as much as it should be, but based on what I've seen, I feel like we've regressed. Because I know, like, you brought up the family shows. Well, at least back when we were coming up, there were an abundance of those. So, like, you had the abundance of the Family Matters and the My Wife and Kids and the In the Houses and the Hanging with the Mr. Coopers, Sister, Smart Guy, all of those shows, right? We can name them all. There was a whole bunch of them. And yeah, they were cookie cutter and corny. Yeah, they had a lot of white writers behind the scenes writing this stuff, but at least they portrayed a Black existence that was not Power, that was not Power Book 2, that wasn't, Empire. Even like, it just seems like even Black shows that portray a family unit, the context of it involves some sort of criminality or some kind of shakiness. Like some of these shows on BET, there's a show, I can't even think of the name of this show. It has Ernie Hudson in it, where it's a family show. So at least it portrays a Black family unit that is affluent. However, the context of the show involves you know, some sort of criminality, some kind of nefarious behavior. There's something going on that's not on the up and up. And so there's just a lack of the opposition of that going around in the entertainment space. And so, yeah, it creates this environment of mind control.
Fucking family business.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Can't stand that show.
Yeah, that's it. I'm vaguely aware of it, but I've never watched an episode. But I know that it involves, like, you know, crime and
shenanigans.
Yeah, shenanigans. Yeah, I know it involves that. So, like, yeah, like we can't have, you know, a black fantasy show. You know, where's the black Game of Thrones, or where's the black Star Trek Picard? You know, all those shows may have one or two actors in there, but for the most part, it's mostly a non-black cast. And I think that speaks to what we culturally respond to in terms of the types of messages. So, you know, it's pretty cool that Teddy Bridgewater said what he said. You know, it's like I said, man, I'm not trying to take anything away from the entertainers and the athletes. I just think that we would benefit from some balance. So, you know, I think it's cool to turn on the TV and see a black, you know, astrophysicist. I personally think that's kind of dope. And I'm not saying that I want to see nothing but black astrophysicists every time I stream something or watch TV. But if I can get 50-50 split or a 60-40 split, either way, I'll take that too. It just kind of seems like it's a 90-10 split. And, you know, these kids, like you said, that are actually in the field doing this, that are exposed to this mind control, that don't hear enough people in Teddy Bridgewater's position saying what Teddy Bridgewater said, they're kind of shepherds to the flock. And, you know, they're just going to emulate everything that they see and hear. And it uniquely affects our population because there isn't enough of the antithesis of that we can readily see on a regular enough basis to be able to say, oh, that's one way to do it, but here's another way to do it.
Mm-hmm. Totally agree. And just, yeah, it's family business. My ex used to watch that, and I'm watching it, you know, secondhand, and I'm sitting there looking like, well, got echo on? But I'm sitting there watching that, like, how ridiculous is this? Like, why is this even, like, what is this? Yeah. But it falls in line with Empire, Power, and those other shows that glorify this family gangster.
Yeah.
Crap. It's crap, bro. I cannot stand it. They sitting there talking about bricks and they're talking about flipping this and flipping. These people are not, I mean, it's so cringe, bro.
Yeah.
And so
it is cringe. Yeah.
And I can't stand it. It is completely aggravating. But the only reason why I know Empire came on tonight or Power came on tonight is while I'm on my feed, everybody's got a meme now about Power and what happened with blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. So, oh, well, 50 Cent makes it, blah, blah, blah. Bro, please. Bro, please. Oh, well, you know, he's got right. Oh, so you trying to, bro, please. And so just like I said, these young kids now, and 50's not young, but just follow the logic. These young kids now are doing exactly what these rappers were fantasizing about in the late 90s, early 2000s. And these kids are really doing it for real. I don't know how many RICOs that happened in the last 5 years where a rapper and his whole slew of people got thrown under the jail because they were actually participating in real criminal activity.
Yeah.
And so these people are actually doing these things. So then you get somebody like 50 Cent, who honestly, who grew up in a situation where he idolized gangsters. He did that. And honestly, he's just genuinely writing stuff that he thinks our people want to watch. Because it's nothing different than what he wrote about and all this other stuff. So 50 really feels that way. So he's going to come out with a show talking about gangsters, drugs, jail.
Well, because that's his reality, yeah. Which is the problem, is that is what we have accepted as our reality more often than not. So yeah, he is completely thinking that he's being 50 creating these shows. When he develops these shows, the danger is that he feels genuinely in his heart that he's being authentic.
Yeah, no.
So the idea is I'm being authentic to my people and my culture with this entertainment.
Right.
and you can't tell him otherwise. And since that's the reality that he came from, the danger inherent in that is when you don't have enough presentations of entertainment that offer alternatives.
Thank you. Yeah.
So it's not about saying that we can't have it. It's about saying there's a need for alternatives, and there isn't a great enough space for the alternatives. He completely thinks he's being authentic though, which is the dangerous part.
No, I agree. And so him coming out with his stuff again, it's just no different than a 40-year-old rapper still talking about bricks. Yeah. Or also, it's like, you cannot be serious, bro. But of course he is, because, well, he's giving the people what they want. And so it's gotten to a point. So again, one more time, it's gotten to the point where back in the day, we didn't control nothing. And we had other people telling us what our people want to watch. Those people grew up watching those things, and now they think that that's what our people want to watch.
Yeah.
And so it's a cycle of foolishness. And so 50, I admire his go get himness, the fact that he went from music and starting getting into film. Like, I appreciate all of that. I really highly recommend, and I would love to see him actually make some different type of content. I'm not going to rely on it, but I would like to see him actually make some different type of content that's not drug centric, that's not gangster centric, and not prison centric. But hey, it is what it is. But yeah, man, I'm glad that Teddy said something. I actually think that the progeniting behavior from these guys that's out here acting like they thugging is from television, music, and, you know, well, hell, social media just repeats.
Yeah, it completely reinforces it. Yeah, exactly. It exacerbates it. Yeah, completely agree. And that's one of the reasons why I appreciated, you know, the show on HBO, Insecure, the show that Issa Rae created. Like, even though I felt as though at times they leaned too much into the niggas ain't shit narrative. I felt like they leaned into that too much, and obviously it was created by a woman, and the main character in the show is women, so it's a woman's perspective. So I can appreciate that. You know, even though I would like to see a show like that is told from the black male perspective, I nevertheless would always find myself appreciating that show, because at the very least it depicted everyday life for black people who are just out here trying to live and be decent human beings. You know, all they did, like in that show, like I said, it got melodramatic at times, and it had its issues there were issues with it that I had, but overall, it was a show about black people living in LA, college educated, trying to climb the corporate ladder, be successful in life, and have successful relationships, which is what most human beings are about. So, like, that's why I appreciated that show, because I don't see enough of that. And so even though it wasn't necessarily, it's not really a show. I never felt like that was a show for me, because I'm a man, and I felt like that show was mostly geared towards black women. Nevertheless, I was a champion for it because of those reasons. And, you know, anytime I see shows like that with a majority, if not all black cast, you know, I'm going to point that out, because I might not be a fan of the show per se, but I'm a fan of the imagery, and I'm a fan of what it symbolizes, I guess. And so, you know, I always respected her for making that show for those reasons. You know, until we can get to a point where as a people we're not so beholden to entertainment and pro sports players, we're going to have to live with desiring to just see more of a balance and more alternative forms of entertainment to consume, because, you know, for better or for worse, as black people, we are still beholden to pro sports and entertainment. And within entertainment, you get the streaming shows and the movies and the music. It's all underneath that umbrella. So until we are beyond that, we're just going to have to say, can we get more people like Teddy Bridgewater who can speak up like that, I guess.
Totally agree, bro.
Yeah. All right. Well, appreciate everybody for tuning in, man. That's going to do it for our video for tonight. Another Conscious Approach video in the books, man. If you're watching this video on the YouTube channel, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, subscribe to the channel. We certainly appreciate the support. If you're watching this video on the Facebook page, like the Facebook page, although and I mentioned this in the previous video that we made. Serious consideration is being made to shutting down Facebook because Meta is actively engaging in content censorship, and I do not appreciate that. Hopefully, YouTube does not follow suit, but Facebook is crazy right now. You put one little word in there that the machine picks up as divisive, and they flag your whole video, and it doesn't go public. So, like, I'm done with Facebook. Facebook is I'm not going to go on a Facebook rant, but I'll just say I hate Facebook with a passion. And I am 2 seconds away from relinquishing myself from Facebook in its entirety. If it wasn't for the fact that I needed it for my job, I would probably get rid of it altogether. But be that as it may, it still exists. So if you're watching this video on the Facebook page, do your boy a solid. Hit the like button. Hit the share button. Follow me on Instagram at JVWins, JVWINS. Follow me on Twitter, on the Twit, all relevant social media platforms. Search me up, JVWINS. Continue to support logical content. Definitely appreciate the support.
Yep. And the name is Dogon SS. You can find me on Instagram at Dogon_SS, and on YouTube at Dogon SS. And I was on TikTok. I deleted my TikTok. Couldn't do it. And it was one day I opened it up and they had like a well-being tracker. And then I looked at how many hours I was on it for that week, and I was like, well-being tracker. Now, why would they have this? And so I'm looking at it and I said, 6 hours, huh? All right. 4 hours, huh? Got it. And I said, yeah, all right. So I was like, watch this. And then I went a whole week. And I opened the app twice. The second time was by accident. I was on there a total of like 5 minutes. And I said, yeah, this is great. And I took like another 3 days or so. And then I was like, you know what? I'm good enough to delete this mug.
Yeah.
So I got rid of TikTok. I might reopen it or whatever, but down the line. But I think I'm still able to get followed over there. So I brought all that up to say, follow me on TikTok too. It's Dogon_SS. All right. So find me on any social media platform. Still waiting for people to hit me up on DraftKings. All right. It's Dogon_SS over there too. But as I always say, man, don't be too high. Don't be too low, man. Keep it neutral. Keep it player. Keep it chill. The cheers and the jeers. So even if people are cheering you on, don't buy the hype. If people are jeering you on, right, and they're hating and stuff, don't give that any hype either. So believe in yourself, know who you are, stay neutral, keep it chill, and keep it even kill. Okay.
Yeah, couldn't have said it better myself, man. So until next time, another Conscious Approach video. Signing off. We'll catch y'all on the flip side. Appreciate you for watching. Peace.
Peace. Skirt.